Today the Council adopted the strategic compass during a joint session of the Ministers of Defense and Foreign Affairs. Both formations together, they finally approved, after 2 years of work, the strategic compass. And I don't want to abuse of the word historic that we use a lot here in Brussels, but it's certainly a turning point for the European Union as a security provider, and very much important step for the European security and defense policy. I think that the adoption of this document sends a strong signal of unity and resolve, and it comes at a very, very, very important moment, because we certainly need to increase our capacities on security and defense. Certainly it's not an answer to the Ukrainian war. We started working 2 years ago, but it's very timely. It's very timely that we approve this strategic compass in a moment in which I think every citizen in Europe can understand the purpose of a document who wants to increase and strengthen the European Union as a security provider. As I said, this is the result of 2 years of hard work, and I want to thank my team at the External Action Service, and also all Ministers of Defense and Foreign Affairs that has been working on that for all this time, even this weekend, a lot of last-minute work in order to ensure that everybody was on board. You have heard me talking about the strategic compass many times during this long period of 2 years, and I want just to stress the fact that it's not an answer to the latest international development, in particular to the Russian military aggression in Ukraine. It's an answer to the feeling that the European Union has to be more engaged, coordinating the efforts of the member states in order to increase the capacity of all of us together, certainly in complementarity with NATO, in order to make Europe more stronger. When I presented the start of the compass, the draft that we presented to the member states in November, I said Europe is in danger. And this sentence, well, many believe that it was a matter of selling the product, to attract the attention of the people, to give a headline. Well, today I think everybody is convinced that Europe is in danger. That is blatantly obvious due to the invasion of Ukraine. It's not a rhetoric. By the contrary, this invasion and the war that is going on is a tectonic shift on the geopolitical landscape of Europe. And our reaction to the war has demonstrated that we, as the European Union, we can act firmly and united. And today the adoption of the compass confirms this capacity. The compass will help us to step up our ability to act more robustly and decisively in response to crisis, to secure our Union and our European citizens, increase our resilience, to invest in the required capabilities and in defense innovation. It's important to know how much Europeans are spending on their defense and to follow the evolution of the military expenditure since the beginning of the century, passing by the Crimea annexion in 2014 until this moment. These figures are important in order to understand where we are coming from, and why we should react. Today, the military expenditure in Europe of all member states, adding up, it's about 200,000 million euros, 1.5 of the GNP. It was decreasing until 2014, decreasing quite quickly, and since 2014 has started decreasing again until 1.5. But we have to invest more, and I am sure that everybody will understand that if we want to push defense innovation and to be more able to face situations like the one we are facing today in Ukraine, we need capabilities. And with 1.5 of the GNP, it's not enough. We have to spend more, but we have to spend better. Better. Better means to avoid duplications and to avoid gaps. And we are working now, according with the mandate of the Council, on a study deeper these defense gaps. Where are the holes in which we don't have the means and ways to react? What we are missing? And what we are having 2 or 3 times in a duplication that is not effective. This 200,000 million euros is more or less 4 times the military expenditure of Russia. Altogether, we spend almost 4 times Russia, but certainly not with the same efficiency. 200,000 million euros is the same military expenditure of China. Altogether, we spend as much as China. But certainly, it's not the same thing, 27 different parts, that one integrated military structure. We don't want to create an European army. It's not about creating a European army. The European armies will remain, each member state having its own military army. But we have to work together closer. We have to coordinate better our expenditure. We have to be able to react. And one of the ways to react rapidly is this rapid deployment capacity that has been agreed. I am very happy that finally this proposal has been agreed by the member states, which will allow us to mobilize 5,000 troops, train and equip to react to crisis. We will strengthen our control and command capabilities. We will conduct live exercises together. It has never been happening, never. European armies has been training together apart from the NATO framework. And we will better tools to fight hybrid attacks, hybrid campaigns, cyber threats, and foreign interference and manipulation of information. Because the battlefields of tomorrow are also on the networks, are on the cyberspace, are on the outer space, on the high sea. It's not only a matter of conquering land, it's conquering minds of the people. And the minds of the people at the end determines the behavior of their governments and the votes, for example, on the United Nations. So there is a big work to do, not with guns, but with words, with ideas, countering propaganda and disinformation, and present things the way they are. This will allow us to support our partners and to be a better partner. To support our partners, as we are doing now with Ukraine, and to be a better partner inside inside the NATO, with the United Nations, and with the African Union. We cannot act alone. We want to act in a more coordinated way among us, and we want to act in a more integrated way with our partners, acting in complementarity with NATO, which remains certainly the cornerstone of the territorial defense of Europe. But we, Europeans, with this document, we stated our strong will to be a stronger security provider for our citizens, for the stability of the world, and for the peace of the world. We will be more effective on facing crisis, securing, acting, investing, and partnering. This is not a document to keep in the shelf. This is a guide to action with a concrete timeline. That's what we have to do and when we have to do. This has to be updated frequently. It has been updated in the last weeks in order to stress the importance of the Ukrainian war, not because we didn't discover before the Ukrainian war that Russia was one of the most important challenges that we are facing. We knew it. We knew it, and it was considered since the beginning in our threat analysis. But it was much more evident, and we have to adapt the text in order to reflect the current situation. But it will have to be updated often. Will have to be under the control of the leaders of the European Union Council, to which I will present the compass on the next meeting this week. And finally, let me say one thing. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. We are going to work a lot on that. It's time to translate all these purposes into concrete results. We need to study our defense gaps. We need to fill these defense gaps. We need to be effective, coordinated. We have to increase our resilience. And certainly, we will have to ask for a better commitment of the European citizens as taxpayers in order to make the European Union, as I said at the beginning, a better security provider. Otherwise, we will be in danger. We are in danger. And in order to face these dangers, we have to take conscience, full conscience of that, and act accordingly with that. I think that the Ukrainian war has been a kind of awakening for our conscience. For example, the energy dependency is something that we have been increasing our energy dependency from Russia for years. And now we take full conscience of the weaponization of dependencies. Dependency become a weapon. It is a weapon. It is being used as a weapon. And we have to react when someone uses something as a weapon against us. We are not a military union. We are not a military alliance. But we want to play a role in order to provide to the European citizens more security in a challenging and dangerous world. We are not living in the world we would like to be. We live in the world the way it is. And this world is dangerous. This world is challenging. Our neighborhood is in flames. From Gibraltar to Ukraine, we are surrounded by a circle of challenges, of dangerous situations. And we have to face them. And that's why we have been working with all member states to produce this analysis, this approach, of fulfilling the mandate of the Treaty of the Union, who clearly states that the Union has to build progressively a common security and defense policy, charging the High Representative to conduct this work. And it's my pleasure to present to you, after 2 years of work, what is certainly a big step forward to the building of this common and security policy for the European Union. Thank you. I forgot that we had a fact this morning. Certainly, we had a fact this morning, and in the fact this morning, we did a lot of things apart from the strategic compass. The strategic compass was on the way because my team was trying to arrange the last things that could allow us to have on board all member states. But before the Jumbo meeting with the defense ministers, we had another important meeting with the foreign affairs ministers. And as you can imagine, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia was the main issue in agenda. The ministers analyzed the situation and decided to continue and taking decisions. Today was not the moment to take concrete decisions, but to have a look at where we are, at what is going to happen, and what can we do on the next days. The conclusions are very clear. All member states remain extraordinarily united in supporting Ukraine diplomatically and the international stage. We will continue isolating Russia, to call out for war crimes for blatant violations of humanitarian and international law. We will continue supporting Ukraine economically, financially, with humanitarian assistance, and supporting Ukrainian armed forces. I am glad to announce that we have reached a political agreement for the additional 500 million under the European Peace Facility. And we consider that what's happening in Ukraine is a war crime, a massive war crime committed by the Russian armed forces against Ukrainian people. And this cannot go unanswered. And that's why we welcome the Commission of Inquiry set up by the United Nations Human Rights Council. We welcome the investigation by the International Criminal Court prosecutor. And we recall the order by this International Court of Justice for Russia to stop the invasion of Ukraine. Restrictive measures continue constituting an important part of our approach, and we are ready to take further according with our partners. We will continue engaging with international partners in order to continue putting pressure on Russia. At the end of the meeting, we were joined by the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Moldova, Nicu Popescu. Moldova, as you know, is one of the countries more affected and most threatened by the Russian aggression. They are responding with an incredible generosity and solidarity with their Ukrainian neighbors. 30% of the children in Moldova today are children from Ukraine, refugees from Ukraine, and their education system is under huge strain, but they are integrating them fully, allowing them to continue learning. They need our support. We will provide all the support they need in order to face this challenging situation. The ministers collectively committed to step up our support to Moldova. At that moment, there are 3.2, maybe at that hour of the day, maybe 3.3 million of refugees, and the flow continues. I am convinced that Putin is using the refugees as a tool, as an arm, sending as much as they can. They haven't destroyed the transport infrastructure. They just destroy the cities in order to terrify the civilians and make them escape. We are ready to help all of them. This is a symmetric burden because some member states in the border are having a stronger burden. They are facing this flow of refugees in the front line, but all member states will be in full solidarity to attend these people. Then we talk about Mali. The situation in Mali is not good. The attitude of the Malian authorities has pushed Barkhane and the special forces of the Takuba to leave. Et en même temps que Takuba et Barkhane sont partis du Mali, ou vont partir du Mali.
Takuba will be leaving Mali, and we are therefore very worried about the involvement of the Wagner mercenaries in Mali, and we know they are notorious for atrocities wherever they have been in action. So the question is, what should we do with our military training mission? The training mission cannot become involved in any way in activities which could call into question or undermine the reputation of the European Union. So we want to remain involved in Mali, but not at any price. Until now, our presence has been not massive, but considerable. Takuba, Barkhane, the training EUTM mission in Mali, the European Peace Facility, they've all been involved. We've worked with the Mali and army, but now we are asking for those units trained by us do not collaborate, work with Wagner. And we are awaiting a response on that from the Malian authorities. If we don't get the guarantees we've requested, we will have no choice but to completely overhaul our involvement and presence in Mali and reconsider it. So we are waiting to hear now what the decision will be. But in the meantime, we continue to provide direct financial aid to populations in the Mali and the Sahel more broadly. The ministers highlighted the decision to extend support to other countries such as Burkina Faso and Niger in the region. I think everybody is aware of the complexity of this enterprise, which of course requires investment beyond investment in security and defense, but investment in the well-being of populations that are extremely stressed by all the implications of war against terrorism, not to mention climate change, drought, and who will now be facing, of course, a huge increase in food prices as well as energy prices. Okay, that's not just Mali, of course. It's not even just the Sahel. It's a problem that will affect many African countries, many countries within our neighborhood. We ourselves will, of course, be affected by the increase in prices, which are not the result of our sanctions, but the result of the war, pure and simple.